Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the headlines.
Crunch talks over pay continue between health unions and the Department of Health.
A meeting that lasted just under 2 hours but ultimately ended in more negotiations needing to take place in order to find a resolution.
Irish voters have spoken, but what have they said? We'll examine the results of the presidential race.
And locals tell UTV that a broken bridge has virtually cut off the town of Kilrea.
Also tonight, a maiden victory for Madden as it clinches the Armagh Football Championship.
And we have some changeable conditions over the next couple of days with the potential for some wet and windy weather on Thursday. I'll have all of the details later with the forecast.
Talks have taken place today between unions and the Department of Health over the contentious issue of pay awards.
In the past hour, a meeting has ended with union officials telling UTV that while a deal hasn't been done, intensive negotiations will continue. Well, our reporter Stuart Robson is at the Department of Health and we can join him now. So Stuart, what have you been hearing?
Well, Rose, as you say, not long before we came on air tonight, union officials and the Department of Health were locked in discussions in this building behind me over the ongoing pay dispute. Now, I can confirm that although deemed as positive by some unions, talks are still set to continue. Now, the meeting lasted just under 2 hours and, as I say, described as positive, constructive by others, but also that intensive negotiations will now have to take place over the next few weeks in order to find a resolution. Now, how did we get to this point? Well, the Department of Health offered unions a 3.6% uplift for workers' pay, but this was rejected for a couple of reasons. The Department of Health were willing to backdate that pay to the start of this month, but the union said that they wanted the pay backdated to April to align with their colleagues in England, Scotland and Wales. What they said was if this didn't happen at the very least, then they would ballot their members. I can confirm tonight that two unions, Unite and NSPCC, have said that they will still go ahead and ballot their members for industrial action, even while discussions and negotiations still continue with the Department of Health. Now, we heard from the Department of Health earlier. The Health Minister Mike Nesbitt said that his department will continue to work in good faith with unions in a bid to find a resolution. More discussions are expected to take place as early as the end of this week.
Stuart Robson, thank you very much. The votes have been cast and counted and the result is now finally known. Catherine Connolly is set to become the 10th President of Ireland. The independent candidate secured a massive majority over the only other candidate in the race, Fine Gael's Heather Humphreys. But while the outcome was decisive, Irish voters have made clear their displeasure with a record number of spoiled votes.
It was a campaign which became a contest between the government and opposition. It featured a will they, won't they strategy from Sinn Féin, endless debates and a zombie candidate in the form of Fianna Fáil's Jim Gavin. Our political editor Tracy McGee was in Dublin at the weekend to watch the finale of this, at times, bizarre election. Here's our special report.
Catherine Connolly and her team strode into Dublin Castle around tea time, knowing she was about to be confirmed as the 10th President of Ireland with a landslide victory. Inside there were hugs and celebrations, especially from the leaders of the left-leaning opposition parties who had supported her. The declaration may have been a foregone conclusion, but when it came, the victory was still sweet.
I hereby declare Catherine Connolly elected to the office of President of Ireland.
Her speech, like her campaigning style, was measured, and as the confirmed winner, she attempted to reach out to those who did not support her.
From day one, I emphasised that I was an independent candidate with an independent mind. And for all who voted for me, thank you very much. It will be an absolute privilege to serve you. For those who didn't vote for me and those who spoiled their votes, let me tell you, I will be an inclusive president to listen to all of you. I will be making no distinction on the basis of votes.
Fine Gael opponent was gracious in defeat, as was the Taoiseach, whose party's campaign had become a debacle.
I know that Catherine will be a president for all of us. The
people have spoken resoundingly today, and they've given Catherine a tremendous majority and a very clear mandate in terms of her role as the next President of Ireland.
From the moment the first boxes were opened at 9 o'clock, it was clear something big was happening. The numbers were decisive. Catherine Connolly won 63% of the votes. Her rival, Heather Humphreys, took half that with around 30%. The Fianna Fáil candidate, Jim Gavin, may have pulled out of the race, but he still carded 7% of the votes. But a significant feature of this election was the unprecedented number of spoiled votes. Some 213,000 voters spoiled their ballot. So what was behind the protest? Intu leader Peadar Tóibín believes anger at the lack of candidates was a factor, but there were other reasons.
We have a crisis in housing at the moment. There's enormous demand in housing. There's obviously a crisis in terms of healthcare and in terms of major issues around individuals who are very ill not getting access to healthcare. But there's also an element around, let's say, immigration.
Arriving at Dublin Castle, the Taoiseach said voters had delivered a message that must be listened to.
Every political leader, government and opposition, because they didn't vote opposition either, government and opposition needs to approach this with humility, and we need to get under the bonnet of the fact that more and more people are finding themselves at a remove from politics.
For the opposition leaders, the question now is how to capitalise on their newfound solidarity.
We're proposing, and we're going to be discussing with others on the left, the idea of a major conference of the left, open to not just parties but also independents, all those who've gotten involved in this movement, to happen in the new year, to sit down and to begin to tease out how can this cooperation be deepened over the coming months and years facing into the general election.
I think that we have seen here a potential for an alternative, the political alternative beyond the old politics of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. I also know that this is something that we need to work on, and it is certainly my hope and desire that we can drive this politics of optimism, of hope, of activism from the grassroots forward.
This election is reverberating on the other side of the border. As she conceded defeat, Heather Humphreys, a Presbyterian from County Monaghan, revealed she and her family had been subjected to sectarian abuse. Unionist representatives say that's proof the prospect of a united Ireland for all is a myth.
Heather Humphreys is a distinguished politician with many, many years of public service, and even she was subjected to sectarian campaign because her husband had links to the Orange Order. As a self-confessed Republican, Heather was subjected to that campaign. So Unionists here in Northern Ireland clearly see that should there ever be the breakup of the United Kingdom, there would be no place for them in that new Republic of Ireland.
Catherine Connolly's victory may have been decisive, but it has left a lot of questions in its wake. Are Micheál Martin's days numbered following Fianna Fáil's disastrous campaign? Can the parties on the left use this result as a springboard into government in the next Dáil election? And how will already suspicious unionists react to the new Irish president? With only two contenders left in the field, this election was framed as a straight fight between the government and the opposition. With this overwhelming victory for Catherine Connolly and over 200,000 votes spoiled, the Irish electorate have delivered a very stark and uncompromising message to the government parties. Tracy McGee, UTV Live at Dublin Castle.
Tracy's with us in the studio now. As you said in your report, it was a strange election, but it leaves many unanswered questions.
Well, the one thing that is not uncertain is Catherine Connolly's victory. It was an absolutely stunning result, but you're right, there are a lot of questions, not least of all about Micheál Martin's future as leader of Fianna Fáil, because make no mistake, Paul, this has been a very difficult weekend for the party. They were essentially bystanders in this election, even though they're the biggest party in Ireland, and the embarrassment of their ghost candidate scoring 100,000 100,000 votes. Now, most people believe that while there have been rumblings in the backbenches, there is no imminent threat to Micheál Martin's leadership, but more than likely it has been shortened. And the other big question is this: why did over 200,000 people go out and spoil their vote? Because make no mistake, this was about anger. If you're just fed up, you stay home. That's just apathy. But anger takes you into a polling booth to deface your ballot. There is something going on in Irish society, and I think the political parties, and most especially the government parties, would be very foolish if they ignored it.
Tracy McGee, thank you.
Kilrea has been described as a ghost town following the closure of a bridge in the County Londonderry village. The Kilrea Bridge was shut in September following concerns about the structural stability of a retaining wall.
1 month on, and businesses say they are feeling the effects of the closure. Nathan Hanna has this report.
Well, for me to be here today, I'm doing a round trip, probably about 20 miles.
Well, it just adds about, for me, it adds about 20 minutes to my travel time in the morning.
The town has been very quiet, and I have to do a detour in the morning to get here to my work.
This is the Kilrea Bridge over the River Bann, an important thoroughfare for the town. But it's shut last month amid safety fears. And this is the reason the bridge is closed. Extensive cracking has been found on this wall on the approach to the bridge, which links Kilrea to the likes of Rasharkin and Dunloy. As well as a longer commute for some, businesses say they are suffering, with one describing the situation as a nightmare.
Well, the best way I can describe it, there's been very little business. There's been a decrease in business, serious decrease, 60-70%. We're seeing very little customers from the other side. Obviously, there's a lot of people that support us from that side, plus also the staff members. They have to make a long journey. It adds 20-25 miles easy. They're just behind that bridge, but they have to go around Portland, obviously different directions, different diversions, and it takes a toll. The whole town, really, it's not only our business, the whole town has taken a massive toll on this as a stream. You see yourself, it's a ghost town. After 5 o'clock, there's not a car driving by.
Others explaining how tough trade has been.
So footfall is definitely down. We have a lot of customers from Rasharkin and Dunloy that can't get over the bridge now, so that's affected sales. Say we're down maybe 20% in sales. It could be 3,000 or 4,000 a week, so it's definitely had a big impact on us.
Well, fuel sales first hit down 30% drop on fuel sales, the traffic not coming through. And then the shops, certain departments would be down 50%, so huge devastating impact on the business.
The Department for Infrastructure says it is working at pace to get the road open again, with the hope repairs will be carried out more in a matter of weeks than a matter of months, and stress their message that this is a public safety issue.
Closing roads for us is a very difficult decision. It's not done very lightly. We are very conscious and recognise the frustration by the local community and businesses of the disruption that it's actually causing, and apologise very strongly for that. We are working at pace at the moment. Over the last 4 weeks, it would appear that we've done nothing, but actually what we've completed is a ground investigation. We've completed a detailed design, and we've actually turned around a tender package to go out to contractors. That tender package is due back soon, and by next week we will have more information about when a contractor will be able to start and how long that work will take.
Businesses here hoping it'll be all go sooner rather than later. Nathan Hanna, UTV Live.
PSNI officers have been issued with advice to improve their conduct after degrading and inappropriate comments were recorded on a telephone which was seized during a man's arrest. The man was arrested at home in 2022 and he recorded audio from his arrest and throughout his time in custody. The recording heard officers refer to a suspected victim of domestic violence as mental and also revealed issues about how they handled the phone. 3 officers have been issued with conduct advice and a 4th officer is subject to measures to improve performance. The PSNI has acknowledged the findings.
A housing representative body has warned that key social housing projects could be delayed or cancelled due to changes to funding announced by the Department for Communities today. The Minister, Gordon Lyons, has said that he is cutting grants available to housing associations and says it's better value for money and will lead to more homes for those in need. But the Northern Ireland Federation of Housing Associations has warned it has real concerns about the decision.
The Justice Minister has confirmed that she is to move forward with plans to allow news outlets to send cameras into both Crown and Appeal courts to record and broadcast sentencing remarks by judges. The move, which comes after a public consultation, brings Northern Ireland into line with the rest of the United Kingdom. However, the Department of Justice says that new legislation will have to be laid, and this will be deferred until after the next Assembly elections. Next tonight, becoming a parent or guardian can be one of life's most fulfilling experiences, but along with the many ups, it also naturally can have some downs too.
Patience can often be tested, and it isn't always easy trying to remain composed. A new NSPCC Northern Ireland campaign has been launched to help people to navigate challenging moments. Rory O'Regan reports.
The Health Minister speaking to a captive audience united behind a short but important message. Take 5 seconds. The NSPCC understands that it can be tempting to lose your cool while looking after a child, and it wants to help.
Often parents can be very critical of themselves or may think that others are being judgmental when these situations arise, maybe when their child is having a bit of a meltdown in the supermarket. But to say these things are normal, babies are learning, young children are learning, they're testing boundaries, and just if you take that time and you find your calm, it can help manage the situation and bring that connectedness with you and your child.
The NSPCC has put together some tailored advice to help in those more challenging moments. It includes taking a breath before acting, being clear to the child, and smiling if possible. All of that and more is available on their website. Research by the charity suggests only a third of parents in Northern Ireland have ever received information about positive parenting. So we asked some in Belfast what they do to stay calm.
Trying to put yourself into their shoes, right? Because they're learning everything. Everything's new to them. Everything that they encounter is for the first time pretty much. So you just need to try and put yourself into their shoes.
Just think of what makes them happy and then just do it. That's what I do anyway.
This life is very busy and work's very busy, but I guess coming out for walks and playing with 2 kids and enjoying lots of coffee.
While the Minister spoke in an official capacity at the launch of the NSPCC campaign, there's also a man beyond the politician, and he shares the worries and concerns of others juggling that other full-time role.
I don't think I've ever met a parent who doesn't want to know how to do it better, so any advice, any programs like this, take 5 seconds, are always going to be welcome. This initiative is all about how you mediate and control your emotions so that they don't impact negatively on the emotions of a child. So it's about regulating how you feel, being able to take a step back.
The demands of child rearing can often leave parents feeling guilty and isolated, but the NSPCC wants the public to know there is support available. Rory O'Regan, UTV Live, Belfast.
Well, time now to look at the headlines making tonight's ITV news at 6:30.
And here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up at 6:30, the Justice Secretary announces extra checks in prisons across England and Wales after a sex offender was accidentally released. Hadush Kibatu was finally caught by police yesterday after 3 days on the run. Now the government announces what it will do in response to the embarrassing mistake. Catastrophic warnings of life-threatening flooding in Jamaica tonight as the island braces for one of the strongest ever hurricanes to hit. And the King pays tribute to lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender military personnel with a new memorial. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Sport now.
And here's Ruth.
The atmosphere is electric. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Good evening. It was another busy weekend of county finals. Portaferry lifted the Down hurling title while Erne Gales won the Fermanagh crown. Ryan Grimley helped Loch McCrory win the Tyrone Championship for the first time, and his brother Niall helped Madden win the Armagh title. Daniel Duffy was at the athletic grounds for us.
Cullyhanna and Madden had never been crowned Armagh senior football champions, so it's fair to say a lot was on the line. It was Madden who started the stronger as they flew out of the traps, and they were roared on by the Madden ultras. They would lead by 6 at half-time. A chance though for Cullyhanna to circle the wagons. Whatever was said at the break seemed to work. They reduced the deficit to 3 points. When they needed a goal, the ball just wouldn't find the net. Madden wouldn't be stopped, and in the end they ran out 11-point winners. Delirium at full-time, history in the making, Madden with a maiden senior county title.
For this community and the spirit and the connection and the friendships and the family we all have together, it's amazing. You know, we all bleed red and black. It's hard to put into words what it means right now, but it's a special feeling, and I'm looking forward to just enjoying it with the lads over the next couple of days. Just found out my brother Ryan just won a senior championship with Loch McCrory in Tyrone, so it's quite incredible that there'll be an Armagh senior championship and a Tyrone senior championship cup both in our house this week. It's quite strange, but no, it's amazing, and we're delighted and very thankful, and I'm glad to be able to play a part in this team.
You don't know what to say, like just seeing everyone on the pitch, it's no words. I know it's cliche, but just no words. It means everything. This is what everyone's been training for all year. Since I picked up a ball, it's all I've been looking forward to do. So tough time on the last couple of years, but hopefully that's brightened everyone's moods, put a smile on people's faces, so that's all I wanted to do.
Brilliant scenes there, and there were emotional scenes at the Waterfront Hall last night. It wasn't to be for Mark Allen, but Jack Lozowski won his first ranking title on the World Snooker Tour. Lozowski lifted the Alex Higgins Trophy just 6 months after his father passed away. He dedicated the victory to his parents after beating childhood friend Judd Trump 9-8 in the final. Mark Allen had beaten his Antrim clubmate Jordan Brown on his way to the semi-finals, and he believes Brown can kick on now for the rest of the season.
Jordan played a lot of good stuff there too, and I hope he takes the positives out of that and for the rest of the season, because he had some good wins this week and he looks like he's somewhere near his best again. And you know, Jordan Brown confident is very, very dangerous, so hopefully he takes that into the rest of the season. You know, if I'm not playing him, I'm supporting him, you know, so I want to see him do well. I know his family, and I know like what Jordan's been going through lately. He's been struggling for match wins and stuff, so for him to beat the world champion, then beat Sean Murphy, who's like the form player the last few months, he has to take confidence from that.
Some great snooker at the Waterfront Hall last week. Now Ulster fell to their first defeat of the season in the United Rugby Championship in South Africa. Ulster were searching for a 4th win in a row, and while a hat-trick of tries from Robert Ballacoon and further scores from James Hume and Dave McCann helped Ulster secure a bonus point, it was the Lions who were victorious by 49 points to 31. Another great try there from Ballacoon. Northern Ireland go into tomorrow night's Nations League promotional playoff, 2-0 down to Iceland after the first leg. The away tie kicks off at 6 p.m. our time tomorrow. Iceland played in this summer's Euros, so it's a big ask for Tanya Oxtoby's side.
Yes, we want to go out and win the playoff 100%, but I think after we've played these 2 games we'll have a really clear indication of where we're at and the areas that we've excelled in and the areas we need to continue to develop in. And what a great opportunity for these young players to go out and challenge themselves against players that have been to a major tournament only a few months ago.
Ireland Rugby are back at a special venue this week to kick off their autumn internationals, and they've been out and about meeting rugby clubs of Chicago. They're back at the home of the Chicago Bears NFL team. Of course, Soldier Field is where they defeated New Zealand for the first time in 2016. That was after 29 attempts spanning across 111 years. Rory Best was captain that day, but one of the team's current leaders remembers where he was.
Sitting around watching the game with my mates having a drink. I was certainly nowhere near this team back then, and I just remember being just a proper Irish fan that day. Really excited about the game and watching it, screaming at the TV and loving every minute of it.
Let's hope it's another special result this weekend. Turning to ice hockey, the Belfast Giants were in Elite League action last night. They lost 2-1 against the Flames in Guildford. JJ Pikanich opened the scoring for Adam Keefe's team before 2 unanswered goals give the home side both points.
We were okay tonight, but if we want to make sure that we get that win tonight, we have to be better than okay. We have to compete through that and make sure that we get more than one goal. I mean, it's going to be tough to win games with one goal.
Finally, Kilrea are 2 points clear at the top of the Niffle Premiership table after a 2-0 win over Portadown, and Derry City secured European football for next season with a 2-1 win over Shamrock Rovers. That's your sport this evening. Bye for now.
The atmosphere is electric. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Well, the clocks have gone back. It's making our mornings a little bit brighter.
Well, Louise joins us now. I'm looking forward to more of this autumnal weather.
Well, there's plenty of it to come this week. There's a lot going on this week with midterm break, Halloween at the end of the week as well, and it will feel very autumnal. It's already been very dull and damp this month so far. We've already had a month's rainfall. We've only had 30% of our average sunshine, quite a lot of dull, cloudy days. Over the next couple of days, Wednesday doesn't look too bad, but there's an area of low pressure, a deep area of low pressure pushing in from the Atlantic, from the southwest. So something to keep an eye on. We could have some very wet and windy conditions overnight Thursday into Friday. Friday, Halloween, of course, many people out trick-or-treating, pumpkin patches, a lot of outdoor events happening. The weather at the minute looks potentially to stay quite windy with a few sunny spells and scattered showers. So if you are intending to go trick-or-treating, you probably need to bring an umbrella. Here's your forecast.
It's time to take a rain check. There's no place like home. UTV Weather. Sponsored by the Grant Arona R290 heat pump.
So we have some changeable conditions on the way this week for the midterm break. Sunny spells, scattered showers merging to longer spells of rain at times. Thursday looks rather unsettled at the minute as we have a deep area of low pressure pushing through, but it will become milder as we head towards the weekend. Taking a look at the pressure sequence, it's quite a mobile picture at the minute. Low pressure dominating. We have further systems pushing through, bringing outbreaks of rain, sunny spells and scattered blustery showers as we head through the rest of the week. Tonight, showers will continue to push eastwards, becoming dry with clear skies in the overnight period. For most places, however, we'll have a scattering of showers becoming more frequent, pushing in across the west. The winds will really pick up tonight again, becoming quite blustery like last night. Temperatures dipping to lows of 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow it is a mild but blustery start, sunny spells to start the day. Frequent showers pushing in across the west on those brisk westerly winds, 1 or 2 heavy bursts there. Temperatures tomorrow reaching highs of around 11 or 12 degrees Celsius, so around average for what we would expect at this time of year. Across the rest of Ireland, plenty of bright and sunny spells, variable amounts of cloud into the afternoon with a freshening breeze around the coast and 1 or 2 scattered showers in places. Temperatures reaching highs of 13 or 14 degrees Celsius. Into Wednesday, we can expect some dry and bright spells, 1 or 2 showers here and there, but temperatures will fall away Wednesday night into Thursday. There's a chance of a grass frost forming in place, so a cool and chilly start on Thursday, becoming wet and windy with that deep area of low pressure pushing in. And for Halloween, the all-important day on Friday, dry weather for most places, 1 or 2 showers if you're heading out to trick-or-treat. Bye-bye.
UTV Weather, sponsored by the Grant Arona R290 heat pump.
What would you do if you won over £100 million in the lottery? Well, in this week's episode of UTV's podcast, The Extra Mile, we meet Frances Connolly, who found herself in a position which most of us could only dream of.
She tells Carol Jordan what went through her head in that fateful moment.
I turned the computer around and he said, I think we've won the lottery. And it came up on the screen, a ticket and stuff, and I said, oh, how much did we win? Because it could have been anything. He said, no, I think you misunderstand me. We've won the lottery. I said, still don't know how much we won. And then he told me and I thought, oh, never stuck for words, but I was actually stuck for words. So we stood up, give each other a hug, and I said, shall I go make a cup of tea?
And that's the way it is in Northern Ireland this Monday tea time. I'll have the next local bulletin at 10:30.
So from Paul and me, and of course everyone on the team here at UTV, have a very good evening.
Good evening.